Welcome in, everyone. I am the Crypto Bull God, and this is all in the charts. If you appreciate the content, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, drop me a comment, and let me know that you're here. Click the bell icon for all notifications in the ghost town of crypto. Crypto is at a very interesting spot right now, decision time. And as I've shared with you this week, how price closes out the week is going to sort of dictate with a certain degree of confidence what we can expect in the shorter to midterm. It's also going to get us on board in terms of what the engagement will be like over the course of the past couple weeks. I'll tell you what, it's pretty interesting to see the level of whether we're talking about YouTube or whether we're talking about X or Twitter. It is amazing during a period of time where there's just consolidation and there's nothing really super exciting going on. It's like a ghost town. But as soon as the market starts to move, shit picks up. So, with that being said, let's get into the charts. I think what we're going to do today, I'm going to talk about Bitcoin, kind of what I'm looking at within current price action. I think it would be important, too, to take a look at the two other major altcoins. It's funny, we don't give attention to Binance. We don't really look at Binance too much on this channel, but did want to take a look at Ethereum and Solana and any other market movers in the day. I think XRP is having a nice day today, up 8%, so we'll take a look at that as well. So on a more granular time frame here, the 12-hour, which is something we very routinely look at on the live stream, you can see once again nothing bearish going on right now. We've had a nice impulsive move up here. We're consolidating right around the 200 simple moving average. We have negated the lower high. Okay, we've sort of taken that first step in the process to attempt to turn this lower time frame bullish by invalidating the lower high right here. Now we need to invalidate all these other lower highs. You can see every single time we attempted to bounce up here, we just were unsuccessful. So we just need to keep climbing that stairway to heaven. And like I said, nothing has changed for me. I mean, I really want to see us close out ideally on the 12-hour. I would love to get up to this 65.6 to 68 range by the end of the week. That would be beautiful to see. RSI, MACD, stochastic RSI, nothing to really see here. Nothing too surprising. The other thing I had pointed out on a lower time frame here on the daily was that this candlestick hasn't printed yet, so we still have 3 hours to go. But nice to see on the daily that we reclaimed the 50 simple moving average. If we go back in time, you can see we did enter a time period here. This was right before my surgery, and this was during the period of consolidation under which I said, I mean, if you were here, you know what the conjecture was that I wasn't feeding into, which is that we were just going to stagnate going into the halving, and this playbook was going to play out, and price was going to be very boring. As you can see, it did quite the opposite of that. And I was very salty that I couldn't live stream for a couple months. But you can see in this case what had happened was we did deviate. We got the golden cross here, and then we deviated under the 200 pink simple moving average for a little bit of time there. Actually did get a death cross temporarily. Here, we haven't seen the death cross. Did spend a little bit of time under the 200 simple moving average, but I have reclaimed it. Why point this out? Why look at this chart and have a conversation about price getting back above a moving average? Well, I mean, it's actually quite basic. Anytime, doesn't matter what time frame you're looking at. Anytime price is below one of those key moving averages, which tend to be the 10, 20, 50, or 200, it gives you an indication of the relative strength of price, right? So the fact that price is back above the 50 simple moving average is expressing strength. It's telling us that price right now is higher than it has been on average for the past 50 days. That's a way to interpret it, right? And the lower the moving average, and the more price sustains itself above that lower moving average, like a 10 or 20, the more strength there is behind what's going on, because it's telling you that price is stronger than the more immediate price action. So a 10 simple moving average, for instance, if price was above the 10 simple moving average, that's very bullish because that's telling you that price is higher than the average price of the past 10 days. So that's the way you want to interpret that. Juan, welcome in. Someone has finally dropped a comment. Thank you in this ghost town of crypto Twitter and YouTube. MACD is attempting to flash a bullish cross here. Now, you might say to me, well, what are you talking about, CBG? We see the histogram picking up. The MACD is the blue is above the orange. Yeah, but the question is, did we hit the trigger line? No, the trigger line is 0. We need this to get above 0. So as long as we can finish the week strong, I'd like to see today on this body here, I'd like to see this a little thinner. I'll tell you what would be ideal. If we were able to close the day out where we opened at about 65,000, if you see, where are we at right now? We're at 64,000, about 100. So if we can get up to 65,000, that would be very good. You'd essentially have no body, and it would be an indecision candle. But if we can't close at 65,000, I'd like to at least see the body of this turn a little less, be a little less thick. That's what she said. And then we'll see how Thursday and Friday shape up. Of course, the weekend, especially during periods of high interest within the market where there might be a higher degree of volatility, oftentimes there is a higher degree of price action that can play out on the weekend, so that's something to watch out for. You know, there was a comment that came in at the tail end of the live stream yesterday asking if I would live stream on Sunday. Keep in mind, Sunday live streams are optional, and it really depends on how critical of a moment the market is at on a Sunday. If something unexpected comes in or something flashes really bullish or really bearish, that's going to dictate whether I live stream on Sunday. So I can't really answer the question if I'm going to be live streaming on Sunday or not. Let's take a quick look. Todd, welcome in. It's always good to see you, my friend. Let's take a look at Ethereum, see what's going on in the chart here. Obviously, we want Ethereum to regain its footing, which it has been. Okay, so right now, I mean, a little bit of the opposite on Ethereum. Right now, you can see this is the 50 simple moving average. I don't know why the color of this line is different. This is the 50 simple moving average, and you can see right now we're struggling to get above it. So we really want to get above that moving average. And you can see, similar to Bitcoin, we had a slight deviation below the 200 simple moving average. Very similar price movements. Very similar price movements here, which shouldn't be surprising. So, but good to see that we're maintaining this area, which I'm going to flip to green. Oh, this is a weekly, that's why. 3,400. Okay, let's take a look at Solana. What is going on with Solana today? Now again, the double bottom that is shown here, and the double bottom essentially, this is almost a triple bottom, that's shown here, this is going to hold up. Unless, okay, the only way these double bottoms on Solana and Ethereum will not hold up is if Bitcoin starts rolling over, which again is a possibility, right? We can't rule anything out. Just because I've stressed this so many times this week. Just because we've gotten up to this area doesn't mean we certainly couldn't create a lower high, right? And then a lower low, and we could enter that 48 to 52 region. That's still on the board, but if we do roll over, then this double bottom will be negated, and you will see much lower prices on Solana and some lower prices. Well, you'll see lower prices everywhere. Which, depending what your view is, if you're a high time frame bull like myself, and prices do present an opportunity to buy even lower, that's a very advantageous moment to scoop some up. But it all depends on what your perspective is from an investment standpoint. Again, I'm a higher time frame individual who's invested. Vast majority of portfolio is not swing trading around, but is invested. Um, so yeah, Solana is just trying to find its footing here, really, and ultimately, I mean, quite frankly, ultimately, the what is going to dictate the price movements on all of these altcoins is really going to be Bitcoin, and then once Bitcoin reclaims key price levels that we've spoken about, it's going to add fuel to the fire for Ethereum and Solana, which will add fuel to the fire for the ecosystem supporting those chains, as well as every other asset within the market. Let's take a look at, I think I see a question coming in. Donkey, welcome in. Milla, welcome in. Yeah, we can take a look at Caspa. Let's take a look at XRP, because it is having a nice day today. So again, and it amazes me, no matter how much time I spend putting content together, no matter how much time I spend putting content together on both YouTube and Twitter, there are some people that clearly just don't understand that I objectively look at charts, and I clearly spell out when trends are breaking down or when strength is coming in. And I'm not emotionally tied to any community or any project. I'm just going to tell you what I see in the charts, right? Hopefully, if you've been here long enough, you've gotten that from me. This is one where I loved to see the uptrend here. I remember when we had the FUD back in 2020, very bullish over here in this camp. Did revise my price levels in terms of what I thought was realistic. But you can see we're following the general uptrend, and we're starting to lose that here. We're trying to regain our footing. If we pull up some moving averages, again, I see a whole lot of people on X starting to get super bullish on XRP, and I would say I would exercise some caution here. And the reason I would exercise caution, so if I was high level observing what's going on within this chart, okay, the first thing is you've got lower highs coming in here, right? We haven't done anything yet. We had a high up here at 93 cents. Then we had a high here at 75, and we double topped here at 75, right? So we really need to start pushing above 75. Now, prices will get interesting once we start pushing above 75. If we start to press above 75, you could see a quick spike up to something close to the psychological level of a dollar. But here's where I would just say I would exercise some caution here. We've deviated below the 200 simple moving average. You also see the 50 is below the 200 on the weekly. We're trying to rise up here above the 200. Now, typically, it's not an XRP thing. It's just a charting thing. When we've demonstrated weakness in a chart and we've fallen below key moving averages like this, especially on higher time frames, it's not instantaneous that all of a sudden, under most circumstances, that we automatically reclaim it and then just continue skyward, right? Typically what you may see is some volatility to the upside, but the real question is, can we hold this area as support? Now, what I want to see from XRP, as nice as the price action has been, what I personally want to see on the weekly, I want to see us hold 60 cents, okay, which is right at the 200 simple moving average. By the end of this week, and next week would be the candle confirmation, if we can do this, I want to see us close the week at or above 60 cents. And then the following week, I want that candle, the next candle is what's called the confirmation candle. I want that confirmation candle to hold 60 cents. So that's really going to be the telling sign here. If we go to the price indicators, you can see the MACD is trying to turn around. RSI looks good. It's at 60, which is a good bullish level. And the stochastic RSI looks extremely healthy at 67 over 33. So there is certainly a possibility here, and I'd love to see it because I do hold some XRP as well as XLM. I would love to see this hold the 200 simple moving average this week and then continue upwards. Let's take a look at Caspa. This is one that I routinely will update on X or Twitter. I haven't put a published video out there in a long time. I haven't done published videos in a really long time. When was the last Let me see real quick. When was the last time that CBG put a published video on YouTube? My peak sell signals back in March. Wow, it's been 4 months. I need to get a published video out there. Holy crap. So high time frame, everything looks great. And again, I think quite often what happens in the market is when, especially within crypto, I believe a lot of it is based upon the demographic that is positioned in these assets. People get very impatient, right? And a lot of people thought we'd break out here. A lot of people thought we'd break out here. A lot of people, and so people start to get salty, but there's nothing bearish about this chart. This chart is incredibly bullish. If we go to a more granular time frame here, if we go to, let's see, what do I have? And quite frankly, the reason I haven't really spent much time charting this recently is because, first off, I'm not trading Caspa. I own it. It's an investment. Whenever I do choose to scale out, it's going to be long-term capital gains taxes. I've been holding it for, the majority of my position will be held for a year by August. So, and secondly, I know what to look for from price action to tell me a bullish or bearish sort of indicator. I've just looked at the chart enough times. Now, this is not really a view I want to look at. I'll try and find something a little bit more. Apologies. All right, so this is a daily or 3-day? I have this saved as a 3-day. Let's look at the 3-day. We don't need to go as granular to the daily. Every time we've had this bottoming, you can see bottoming like this, typically price will move up. So what I would say, and I was trying to depict something here when I was posting it on Twitter, price is looking very strong, although clearly need to update this. This is bugging me. These are resistance. So you can see on the 3-day chart here for Caspa, we have a 20 simple moving average and a 50 simple moving average. Let's just keep it stupid simple, okay? Orange and purple lines respectively. And you can see we're well above the 20 and the 50, and they're both curling up. The 50 is starting to flatten out here, but in generalities, both moving averages are moving up. The price action is above both moving averages, so things are looking very good. This region, guys, it's all about this region here. We just have to be patient and allow price to tell us what it wants to do, 18 to 19 cents. Now, the thing that is most likely is that once you see prices at 20 cents, once that does happen, it's going to skyrocket. But what do I mean by skyrocket? Well, we could draw some fib extensions and take some educated guesses, but mid-20s, high 20s, maybe 30 cents pretty quickly, in my opinion. So, the reason I say that is because this has been basing for a long time. Think about this. This first came up to this 19 cent area back in February, guys. Back in February, right? We corrected, we came back up here, and we've tested it multiple times now, more recently in June as well as July. So 19 cents is clearly providing a serious level of resistance. But because we've sort of based in this area and tested it multiple times, it is in our favor that once it actually breaks and gets to 20 cents, it's going to go significantly higher. Once you see it at 20 cents. But everything's looking good. If I go to the price indicators here, this is the Fisher transformation. I was using this for something else, which clearly did not pan out. Let's see. Let me just look at the MACD. Probably the MACD is kind of going sideways like this. This is my best guess. It's actually increasing. So if we take a look at the MACD, look what's going. Let's just focus on the MACD for a moment. Like, the MACD is so healthy. Now, the one thing I will point out, and I want to see get negated. Now, I'm looking at this 3-day. Are you observing anything on this this chart that does concern you. Yes, there is one thing, and this is the 3-day chart. I haven't spent time looking at the weekly to see. It's a double top. Okay. So if we look at the 3-day, the one thing I am going to be watching for, we have a high here at this price point. As price got higher, we have a lower high on the MACD. And now we've revisited the same area as here at 19 cents. And again, we're lower on the MACD. So one of the things I am going to be watching for on this chart is for the MACD to start to break out from these lower highs. You can see as we were trending up back here, in generalities, we were getting higher levels on the MACD. Here we're starting to get lower highs coming in. So that is something I'm going to be watching for. I'm sure if we just pull up the RSI real quick, didn't want to spend too much time on this chart because I spend so much time talking about Caspa because I think it's the most bullish altcoin out there, quite frankly. Yeah, you're seeing some negative divergences on the 3-day, so I want to see some of that get cleared up. And the way that's going to get cleared up is for momentum to truly come into this asset and blow it well past 20 cents. So we just have to be patient, but things are looking very good. Mad Max, thank you very, very much for the super chat. As I always say, super chats are never expected, but always appreciated, kind sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thanks to insomnia. I'm sorry to hear that. You know, I know what that's like. You know, I think if you guys tune into all my content and not just the crypto content, you know I went through a pretty rough period there. So I know what insomnia is like, and it's not. Hopefully, it's just a one-night thing for you, and you can catch up on sleep. You know, sleep deprivation has such a negative impact on your overall health. I don't know if you're aware of this, but it increases your cortisol levels, which means it increases your ability to retain fat. It creates mental fog. You can't think clearly. And quite frankly, if you're like me and you're running really low on sleep, the probability increases that you can act like a complete jerk to someone. So it's kind of hard not to sometimes. You're not in the right frame of mind. So hopefully you can get some sleep, and hopefully insomnia is just one night. Let me see if there's any other charts I wanted to flip into, guys. Not too many market updates today, to be honest with you. Anything else I want to cover? Render. It's just nothing really interesting. Everything is just kind of flat today. Meme coins are down. I'm sure they'll be back up tomorrow. It's just kind of how the market goes. You know, when you've been here long enough, one of the things you can almost anticipate is certain days, the way the price action will be that day or the preceding day. You just sort of get a sense for it, right? There isn't really anything in the chart. It's more just a sense of where we're at in the cycle and being here for many years. You know what? I'll take a charting question. I'm kind of looking around here, seeing what I want to look at. So Donkey, I would be happy to take a look. Although I am going to get a call shortly, and if I get that call, I'm going to have to hop off, and we'll probably have that be the end of the live stream. Okay, we were looking at Dog yesterday. So we're going to take a look at XEP. I believe this is one we may have looked at before. Ticker sounds familiar. Yes, we have looked at this before. Nice, beautiful, look at this. Nice, beautiful upsloping line here that got broken, unfortunately. But there's no reason that you can't kind of have a similar... Yeah, there's no reason your view... And again, there's a clear difference. Let me explain something to you guys if you're not aware of something. There's a very big difference between making things up as you go versus having what I would call evolution on your view of the chart based on emerging price data. How am I to tell you what's going to happen 2 months from now? Nobody knows. We take educated guesses based on the chart, right? But as emerging price data develops, The educated individual will allow their viewpoint to change based on their educational knowledge of what is playing out in the chart, right? It's why so many charts I've come out and shared with you guys, they look abysmal. They look abysmal. Now, they may not have looked abysmal last year. They look pretty fucking abysmal right now. And I've shared those charts with you. It just is what it is. People just don't... I think people who are analytically minded totally understand that, and it makes complete sense. And I think people that are just emotionally invested and can't logically think about things just clearly miss it. But we're still in a nice uptrend here. Now, at the time that we had charted this, you can see I spoke about this area being a golden pocket. If we extend it, that I would be interested in purchasing. If we extend it, you can see we actually deviated below it. So right now, all these areas are red. Okay, I'm not going to bother turning them red. But you can see all these areas are red. Well, besides this lower line here. So actually, let me turn, just so it's not confusing. So now we are in that golden buy zone that I had spoken about that I thought based on the chart, and I still think based on the chart, is an advantageous to be buying at. You can see we came right down here. I mean, look where we came down to. Even though we deviated below this line, look where we gravitated towards. We essentially, probably lines up perfect. I mean, look at that. We just about touched this line. So, not surprising. Would love to see this area hold. If we start to break below point 0005, it looks like we could fall all the way down to the 4.2 level and then the 3.4 level. So this area really does need to hold. This is on a weekly. Now, the nice thing to see is on this higher time frame on the weekly, if we look at the price indicators are going to give us an indication of if there could be a trend reversal, whether we're talking about bullish or bearish. In this case, we want to see something bullish, right? So what I love to see is as soon as my eyes glance down at the stochastic RSI and the MACD, both of those indicators are rounding up. We don't have the positive confirmation on the stochastic RSI. We want to see it get above 20 this week, ideally. MACD is looking very promising, though. I really like what I'm seeing in the MACD. You could potentially see maybe some shoot up in value, consolidate, and then just continue moving up. And again, a lot of this is going to be contingent on what the rest of the market obviously does. But chart looks like it may have bottomed out. Again, a lot of this is just, most of this is going to be contingent on what Bitcoin decides it wants to do. And we'll have a conversation in terms of when we actually do break above 74,000, where realistically do I see price reaching before stalling out and then having a correction. And I'm sure based upon how high it goes, everybody will call the end of the cycle, which it most likely will not be, but we'll have to assess at that point. But I think that's going to do it for the day. I see a question coming in here, non-chart related. When was the last time you ate fast food, and what is it? I can't really see the question because this fucking icon is blocking it, but I think that's the question. So I never eat fast food. I don't believe in that at all. I would say technically the only fast food I have eaten that I can think about in more recent times, there was a business travel I took 1.5 years ago where I had some Chipotle. I did have myself some Chipotle. That was like 1.5 years ago. Funny thing is, I'm very high maintenance when I travel in respects to packing supplements, packing food, locating a gym. Very, very high maintenance in that aspect. Not with the clothing, but... and then I would also say Chick-fil-A. So when I was in a relationship with someone, once in a while, if we were out, if we were traveling, and there was a Chick-fil-A nearby. Now, when I did do Chick-fil-A, I will say this. I always ordered the salad, grilled chicken. It's like that berry salad, cheese on the side, dressing on the side. If I want a little blue cheese, I'll put a little blue cheese in there, no dressing. That shit is nasty. So still, I mean, relatively healthy. I mean, it's just greens, fruit, chicken, and a little bit of blue cheese. So, but the one thing I'll leave you with based on this question, must have been a broccoli in another life. the one thing I'll leave you with on a healthy note, since the question was asked, is no matter where you're at in life in terms of your nutrition and fitness levels, you have to start somewhere, and there's no point in waiting until tomorrow. You can start today. And the beautiful thing is when you start to instill realistic, healthy things into your life, it's contagious. It's easy to be consistent with it when you're really dedicated to something, and then it just becomes a lifestyle. Someone asked me this morning real quick at work why I wake up as early as I do. Well, it's a choice. I love getting an early start to the day, whether I'm working or charting, and I choose to work out and go to the gym. That is my choice, right? I make time for it. I do not buy the agreement that people just don't have time to work out. I've been doing it for 28 years, and I've had all sorts of things in my life that could have prevented me from doing it, and I've always managed to find the time. So I don't buy that excuse. But anyway, charts are just sort of consolidating at the moment. Best educated guess is, we'll see something a little bit opposite of what we're seeing today, tomorrow, but we'll just really more so have to see how the week closes out. As a reminder, I'm not going to be back here tomorrow at the same time tomorrow. I have an appointment. I won't be here. I may either do a live stream in the morning. If I don't do the live stream very early tomorrow morning, then I'm going to try my best to live stream on Friday. So make sure you click that bell icon for all notifications to know when I go live so that you know when I go live. But guys, thank you so much for showing up. I know it's not the most exciting market right now, so when I do spend the time to come out here and kind of fairly and objectively assess what I see in the market, I'm glad to see that it's well received. So everybody, let's all spread awareness. Let's carry the education forward. Take care, everybody.